great sorrow on 9/11 that it is a dangerous world. And even this summer, there were renewed plots against America to hijack airliners and kill thousands of innocent American civilians. So we have to do what it takes to protect our country from terrorists in these dangerous times. Unfortunately, not enough in Washington is being done. There was a national commission established following the 9/11 attacks to determine what we needed to do to defend America. Lee Hamilton was on that commission. Tim Romer was on that commission. It was bipartisan. They came up with 41 recommendations that we needed to put into place to truly be secure as a country. The first report card came back just about a month or two ago about how we were doing in terms of implementing those recommendations. We got 4 Fs, 9 Ds. That's not good enough, particularly when lives are at stake. We can do better than that. And Baron Hill is going to help us do better than that. He agrees with me and John McCain that we need to make a top priority in defending America during these dangerous times. Put into place the homeland security measures that will empower our first responders, our policemen and women, our firefighters to do what it takes to protect our communities. Do things like inspect cargo coming into the country. Too much of it is uninspected today. That's an accident waiting to happen. Have uniform passenger lists of the airlines so we can spot the dangerous people before they get on the planes. Crack down on the proliferation of weapons of mass destruction and fissile materials so that a nuclear weapon doesn't end up in the wrong hands. Those kinds of things we need to move on and move on now. Unfortunately, there's too much gridlock, too much partisanship, too much branded ideology in Washington. We need a change. And in 12 short days, we have an opportunity to make that change to secure America by electing Baron Hill as our next United States Congressman. So, I understand there have been a few visitors in town recently, and that's okay. I hope they spent some money while they were here, right? We appreciate that. But this election isn't about them, and frankly, it's not about me. It's not even really about the candidates. It's about all of you, and your futures, and your children's future, and the kind of America you would like to have. And we have to ask ourselves the question, are things going the way they ought to be going in Washington today, or can we do better? I believe we can do better. I believe we need a change. I believe Baron Hill is that change. And in 12 short days, you can help us build the kind of American future we need. Let's go get the job done. The next Congressman, the 9th Congressional District.
City of Columbus to our press conference here, and you're hobbling along here with, you said a Republican dog on it? Yes. Well, I don't want to repeat everything that our good senator has already talked about as it relates to national security issues. I agree with him completely. I just want to say how proud I am to be standing with the firefighters from Columbus and to see what they're wearing today. I told them that was totally unexpected. I didn't know that was going to happen, but I sure am delighted about it. I feel very proud to be looking at it. Senator Bayh talked about the 9/11 Commission and how many of the recommendations are not being implemented. I happened to be with the vice chairman of the 9/11 Commission yesterday, all day, campaigning in southern Indiana. We talked a great deal about national security and all the problems that he was having with trying to get the administration to cooperate with the commission so that they could get the accurate information. And it was interesting to listen to him go through why he thought maybe the administration was resisting being forthcoming with a lot of information that they needed to make their recommendations. But having said that, that was then and now is now. And while some of the recommendations have been implemented, over half of them have not. And I don't understand why. One of the biggest things that we can be doing is to securing a lot of the nuclear sites that are around the world that are unsecured. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever why we're not securing these sites around the world. We need to be spending the money to do what is necessary to make sure that the terrorists don't get their hands on one of those nuclear weapons. Think what could happen. And so that's the reason why there needs to be change that Senator Bayh was talking about. What's going on in Washington is a mess. And I think most people in southern Indiana recognize that. And My fundamental message to all the people who are listening here today is that if you believe that everything that's being done now is satisfactory in this country, if you believe this country is moving in the right direction, if you believe that there does not need to be any changes made in Washington, D.C., and you want a representative from Southern Indiana who votes with the President over 96% of the time, then I would agree. You need to vote for my opponent. But if you believe that this country needs to move in a different direction, that we need to secure our nation's security, that there needs to be change in Washington, D.C., that we need to clean up the mess in Washington, D.C., if you believe that we need an independent voice for Southern Indiana, then I hope the people who are listening today will vote for Barron Hill, because that's exactly what you're going to do. We've got 12 days to go. 12 days to go to make the necessary changes, move this country in a different direction. I'm going to be working my fingers to the bone for the next 12 days, and I hope you will too, all of the supporters who are here today. Thank you for coming, and we'll be happy to answer questions. Okay.
The RCCC is trying to paste Nancy Pelosi's face on you and say, vote for you to vote for a San Francisco liberal and we'll cut the military.
I think most people don't know who Nancy Pelosi is. And anything could be better than the leadership that we have in there right now. I mean, the Mark Foley episode is a perfect example that this leadership, the Republican leadership, was asleep at the wheel. And they allowed things like this to go on when they knew it was going on. So, you know, when the Republicans make that kind of a charge, I think they ought to be taking a look at themselves.
Will the visits by the First Lady and the President enter on one committee?
That remains to be seen, Jim. We'll find out around 7 o'clock on November 7th. All I know is this. You've had the First Lady and the President in twice for my opponent. You've had Dick Cheney in and his wife Lynn Cheney in. You've had Carl Rove in. You've had Tom DeLay. John Boehner has been in. You've had the entire leadership of the House, including the Speaker of the House, who covered up this Foley scandal. They've been all in here. And you've got to ask yourself the question, who is he going to be beholden to if he gets reelected? Is he going to be beholden to the people who have propped him up for the last several months, or is he going to be beholden to the people of the 9th District? I can tell you who Barron Hill is going to be beholden to. It's going to be to the people of the 9th District.